Vic Lombardi just got done with an interview with Josh Kroenke. He joins us now. Vic, what is your reaction? Let's just start here. What is your reaction to what happened, and what was your biggest takeaway talking with Josh Kroenke?
The reaction when I heard the news this morning, I was on number one at Rolling Hills. I just hit a tee shot farther than I've hit one in a long time, and I was about $188 out on a par 5.
You know, it's the details that matter.
Don't act like you didn't finish the hole. Don't act like for 1 second you didn't finish that sucker out.
I was told to be at Ball Arena pronto. And to be honest with you, Tyler, I thought I was getting fired for something I said. So I immediately got off the track, but not without getting my ball first because those Pro Vs are expensive.
Yeah.
And my immediate thought was, wow. I mean, how can you not think, wow, right? It was a shock to hear that both of them were relieved of their duties is a shock to the system. The timing is not as much a shock as some people assume.
Okay.
People are wondering why now? Why with 3 games left? Well, the reason why now for me is pretty simple. Because I think Josh Kroenke and the executive team there believe that there's enough talent on this roster to make a push.
To win now.
There's enough talent on this roster right now, the same roster that won a championship 2 seasons ago, to make some noise in the playoffs. And I asked Josh, among the answers, and we're going to have this interview shortly. They're posting it. I asked him, okay, so what are your immediate expectations for this team? And he thought about it for a while, and he made it pretty simple. Play hard, which is, a novel concept. Play hard and have fun. The one thing that, we've talked about on this radio show, on our radio show at least, I saw a joyless team the last few times out. I saw a team that looked stale, a team that at times it felt like they didn't want to be there. And, you played pro sports, Tyler. I know it's a job. I know it's a business. But we all get in this business because we love what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. It's a passion. It's not a job. It's a passion. And once you feel like it's a job, once you feel like you're punching in, then it becomes an uphill climb. And I think that's what they saw. And when you get to that level, you got to get out of it. And that's why it happened now.
Okay, so let's say something magical happens, and they at least get out of the first round. They go on a little bit of a run here. Is that because they're relieved to not have Michael Malone in the room, or is that because there is something strategy-wise that changed?
Maybe both. There's no relief. I don't want to use the word relief. I think the word is change things up a bit. Things got stale, and it was pretty obvious in the way they played. Before we move on, I want to say something off the top here. Michael Malone is the greatest head coach in Nuggets history. And I've seen all of them. Doug Moe before Michael Malone had the longest streak, the most wins, all of that. George Karl came along and he put some serious numbers on the board. Michael Malone not only eclipsed both of them in total wins, but he won this city a championship. So let's not bend the rules here. He is the greatest coach in Denver Nuggets history, and it will stay that way for many, many years to come until somebody exceeds what he's done. But I believe in pro sports, there's not a single coach out there on any team, in any sport, whose message remains fresh for the long haul, whose message still hits home for the long haul, especially if the players in which you're delivering that message to, those players don't change. And I think the message needed to be fresh. And this is why you make a move like this now. That's what I believe.
When you talked to Josh Kroenke, did you ask him about any, if any, involvement or information with Nikola Jokic with this decision?
I did not, because I could tell you what the answer to that question will be.
Okay.
You don't make decisions like this based on what your players tell you to do. I'm sure they speak all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I've seen them speak. I've seen the exchanges. You speak to your franchise players. You advise them. They advise you. These kind of decisions aren't made based on their whims. At the same time, they're not made without their knowledge either. So I can assure you that players are sort of in the know. They know what's coming, when it's coming. At the same time, they don't do something because a player wants it. See, I think that's where there's a lot of people out there that suspect, well, the Nuggets will do whatever Nikola Jokic wants. That's not the way this works. Nikola Jokic gets paid $50 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a player on this team. Now, an all-important player, but he's a player on this team. He is not the team. He does not make these decisions. This is not LeBron James and the LA Lakers where you're running the whole show. This is not that case in Denver, nor should it be.
Okay. Yes, agreed. What if they can't? What if they told Nikola and he said this is the worst decision you're ever going to make in the rest of your life? Don't do this.
Well, let me ask.
Don't do this.
Let me ask you a question. When Peyton Manning was running the show in Denver, do you think he liked the decisions the Broncos made the year they won a Super Bowl?
No, but he definitely was not running the show that year. He was running the show with John Fox. He was not running the show with Gary Kubiak.
Exactly. Did they win a Super Bowl when he was running the show?
Yep. No, I'm sorry. No.
Exactly. Players should never run the show. Players should have input. Great players should always have input. Always. They should never run the show. And I think Nikola Jokic had input here. Now, what he told them remains between them. I have no idea. Do you think they're going to tell you that?
Do you think Jamal Murray's situation, both with contract and current injury status, had anything to do with this decision happening now?
I don't know. That's a great question. But you mean to tell me then, I think what you're inferring, if Jamal weren't hurt, Jamal plays the last 2 weeks and maybe they win those games, of course that has an impact. If Jamal plays and they beat Minnesota, they beat Golden State, they beat Indiana, we're not in this situation.
Let me back up just a second. If this is the playoffs, would Jamal be playing right now?
I don't know. I mean, how do I answer that question? You're in the same room I'm in. I don't know the answer to that question. I think he tries to play. I think if it's a playoff situation, he'll put himself out there. But if you're asking me, is he fully healthy right now? I would say no. He's not fully healthy. But then the definition of what is fully healthy,
well, that's right.
That comes into play.
And Michael Malone made a big defense of that just the other night, pregame. He did. He kind of went off on it. Like for anybody who out there who thinks this is just, nothing. No, he's hurt. This isn't just something you can get through. He's hurt. Malone said that. That's why I bring it up. Because there is speculation. Well, how hurt are you hurt? Like everybody's hurt. Like everybody's got something. Who's not hurt at this point? And, the Jamal situation, obviously, last summer was a big issue. It's been an issue this whole year, Vic. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
With Jamal.
We're talking about this, and it's a difficult subject matter for me because I'm close to the situation, as you well know. When you know so many people in the organization, there's going to be a lot of lives touched by this. There's a huge coaching staff, a training staff, a strength staff,
right.
The rest of the operations staff, the other GMs, the other assistant GMs, the scouts. There are endless amount of people. When you remove both the GM and the head coach in one fell swoop, there are a lot of people walking on eggshells right now, and rightfully so. So this is going to impact an entire organization, not just two people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the surprise for me. The surprise, I sort of had the suspicion, and I'm sure you did, somebody was going to go if this season went south. Somebody was going to go, right? I did not expect both to go before the season ends.
I did not either.
But I think that decision was made because they see something we don't. They see opportunity here with what's left of the season.
I'm struggling with the opportunity with the rest of the season, but I do agree with everything else you just said right there. And I think what it comes down to is you've got a coach that I think the players like. I think they all like Michael Malone. I don't know. Maybe fingers are getting pointed all over the place. Maybe there is a rebound effect. They're just relieved the dude isn't in the room. I'm going to be fascinated what happens in 6 months, a year, because stories start to come out over time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to hear what it came down to. These guys just wouldn't stop fighting. Michael Malone and Calvin Booth just would not stop arguing. We told them to knock it off, or we told them to get on the same page, and it never happened. And I bet when this thing is all said and done, that's what it really comes down to more than any other strategic advantage that you think you're going to get moving into the playoffs.
Is arguing and not talking the same thing?
I think
Yes.
the term you're trying to use, Tyler, is the parent looking in the back of the seat saying, I'm going to pull this car over if you guys don't cut it out. And that's exactly, the car was pulled over today.
Okay, Vic. Are you walking back to the golf course or?
No, I'm sitting in front of where I'm going to be dining at my mom's house, and
Oh.
then I got to go back to Altitude. We're going to do a special
Okay.
tonight at 7 o'clock on Altitude TV.
Okay.
So my golf round is kaput. But next time I play, I will place my tee shot 188 out right in the middle of the fairway where I rightfully hit it.
Well, we'll look forward to your show being the last to be able to react to this huge news tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. when you join Kaner, who works a little bit harder than you guys every day.
Hey, again, I wanna express my deep gratitude and thanks to both Calvin Booth and Michael Malone, who did something that's never been done in the history of Denver sports. They helped usher in a championship to the local basketball team. After a half a century of trying, they got it done. And
Yeah,
I
you
know
were
it
supposed to
didn't end
retire.
well. I know it didn't end well for them, but every Nuggets fan, you could say what you want about those two gentlemen. I will forever be indebted to them for what they did for this city and the parade we enjoyed in this city. And you as a Nuggets fan should do the same. You should feel the same way. It's never going to end well, man. This is pro sports. This is not, we don't live like Elway and Manning where you can retire on your own accord. It never ends well in this damn business. It sucks.
Well said, Vic. Nice job, my friend. And
All right,
we'll look
boys.
forward to your interview with Josh Kroenke that will air as soon as it's available to us. And we'll look for that special on Altitude TV tonight. Thank you, Vic.
Thank you.